Okay, so they usually ask about your genitals or other body parts. So it's like, oh my God, and this is scenario one. Oh my God, somebody told me you're a man. How did you get breasts? And they come to touch. Are they real? Or very stupid questions like, why is your hair so long? 'Cause my hair is like here. Why is your hair so long? Like everybody's hair doesn't grow. Or but if you're a man, why do you sound like this? You don't sound like a man. Or the biggest one for trans women, do you still have a penis?
Yeah.
And it's very awkward is the least thing that I could say to describe the feeling when people ask those intrusive questions. But it's also a instant fear trigger. Like they're saying these things to you and they're not talking soft normally. So other persons in the vicinity may hear these questions and be inclined to become violent, which has happened to a lot of community members before.
And you actually, from because we know each other through
Hmm.
some of the work we do, you've actually had a situation where a person harassed you in the street, and you had to take this matter that this became a police matter, and also to then what happened in the police situation, also something that then had to go to police complaints authority. If you're comfortable, do you want to share a little bit about that incident and how this is something that community-wise may happen?
Well, there are two instances. So one was a couple of years ago. I was in town walking, going back home from the bus terminal. I went with my friends walking to the bus terminal, and there was this group of guys and girls walking. So they were walking like 20 feet behind me, so they could see me. They could see my silhouette. And the boys from behind were saying, "Oh, look at she's really attractive, sexy, whatever," and kept calling at me to stop so they could come and talk to me. So then one of the boys realized who it was. He lives in my area, and he said, "Oh, that's a man." So what happened was the other boys that were calling out to me couldn't believe it. So some of them started to look for bottles and rocks and whatever, and they ran behind me to attack. And at the time, I had pepper spray. One of my friends had brought back for me from overseas, and when two of them got close, I blasted them with the pepper spray. The third one, he was a bit more tricky to catch. So when he was running behind me, I dead stop and turn around and sprayed at him. So at the same time it caught him, he threw the bottle at the same time. So the bottle hit me in my face. So I have a scar right here, and it cut into my hairline. So the hair around my like the front of my hair right here does not grow. Like it's kind of patchy because I had to cut so much of my hair. So uh yeah, that's one. When I went to the police took a week to find the boy, and the boy literally lives 5 minutes walk from my house. And I had to keep going to the police station and being a bitch. It was like, why is it taking you so long to catch this boy? He lives here, and I told him the times that he leaves home, comes back home, and it took them a week to get him to question him. And to this day, he's not been charged or anything. When I went to the police station to inquire about it, they lost my file, my complaint. And that's one instance. The other one was I was walking in town, going to the salon to get my hair done, and it was around my birthday, and this guy started to harass me, whatever. And he was like close enough for me that I could stretch out my hand and hit him. So he said it and he ran off. So the next couple of days, I saw him again, and he started up. So I engaged in an argument with him, and then the police came and broke up the argument. So he started to resist and carry on and fight that with the police. So the police arrested him. And then when I was walking, going along, one of the police officers stopped me and asked me for my name. And I told him he didn't believe me that my name was Raven. I wanted ID. I said no. And I told him, if you don't think that's my name, you can call this particular police officer who I would have dealt with for the same instance where before when the guys had hit me in my face and they lost my file. This officer is a superior officer, high ranking officer. So she would have helped me with that incident. So when I called her name, the officer started to shaking his boots. And he was like, okay, it will just come to the station and give a report about the boy harassing you. I did, got into the vehicle myself, no handcuffs, no anything, and went to the station. And upon giving my report, or trying to give my report about the boy harassing me and threatening me, the they had already started to process the boy, charging him. And then one of the station sergeants came out and said, "Oh, we're charging you as well for disturbing peace." I was like, that's not the preface that I came here on, that y'all told me to come and make a report against the boy harassing me. So why is it now that I'm being charged with disturbing the peace?" So it was a long, long process. They ended up putting me in a holding cell for 24 hours, and then I went to court the next morning. And before I was put into the cell, the it was the boy that had harassed me, the two arresting officers and the custodian of the cells in the police station. I had to strip down naked in front of all of them. So and they wanted me to squat and cough twice when they made the boy do it once, and they wanted me to completely take off. They said, "We need to see your nipples." So no female officer obviously seen me. So when I came to the cells, because custodian asked, "Why are you bringing this girl into the male cells?" And one of the arresting officers was like, "That's a man." And the other officer of the cells, in charge of the cells, was like completely petrified. He did not know what to do, and he kept saying, "I am not sure, I'm not sure." And they just said, "Just strip." So
Actually, I'm gonna ask you to pause there and answer your question along the lines like, so we have a number of institutions, the police obviously, and I'm gonna say police, which has holding cells and prisons, and then you have hospitals and psychiatric like hospital as well, including those hospitals, and probably one or two other healthcare type services. Navigating that space has to be, on some levels, very difficult because for me, in my own experience, the Caribbean is very much, you're either going in as a you're biological male, biological female, and there's no space to navigate for
in
trans
between.
persons. So I know we were just talking about the police situation, but it has me wanting to ask, what is also like navigating any of these public services? And this is also to even going to a doctor for trans, as a trans person, for care.
Navigating any other space outside of your comfort or comfortable spaces, your safe spaces, is hell. Going to the doctor, and you're going there for the first time, and you have to get physical, and they see you presenting female, and you have to explain to them, "Well, I'm trans." It's a whole big shock. So sometimes some of them would have been aware of it from social media, the internet, depending on if they trained overseas, they may have heard of it. But having a one-on-one person interaction with a lot of doctors here or any other place is awful. There's no comprehensive healthcare for trans women or men in Barbados. Um, it's usually word of mouth. Like, I would tell another girl, "We'll take this, and we'll get boobs in a couple months or a year. Take this, whatever." Um, Navigating these other spaces are it can be degrading. Like, you feel like less than a person or less than human because they're going to ask probing questions. how did you get breasts? Do you still have a penis? The same root questions. Why would you want to do something like that? God created you perfect and you want to thing and you're an abomination if the person is Christian and they're, we know Barbados is full of these I don't want to say heretics, but we know Barbados is full of these hypocrites. So bringing God into the mix or the questioning is always a point of fear mongering that they do, or your abomination, you're going to hell. So you have to anticipate the level of discrimination that you're going to receive when you're in these places. If you go to the police for something, you want help, when you can they realize or you tell them that you're a trans, they have no interest in helping you anymore. It's all about ridicule or trying to get you out of the station so you don't lodge your complaint. If you go to the bank and you're presenting ID, because you can change your name in Barbados legally to from Bob to Susan. You can take pictures with your boobs showing inappropriate clothing like this, cleavage and whatever, so you can see the feminine appearance, but the gender marker is still the biological. You were born as male, so then it becomes a point of scrutiny, especially if you're using your Barbados ID card where it has big and bold text male, as opposed to your license that has gender, it's just the letter M or F. So usually because of my ID card, sorry, but because of my license, because I only use my license or passport, the gender marker is in a very obscure place, as opposed to my big and bold picture and my name. So for me, again, being possible is usually overlooked. But for other persons who may have not had the luxury of changing their name or feminizing their outward appearance, it's hard. It's unnerving. It actually makes people not navigate society normally because of all these challenges that they face.